How many of you have ever walked into a room full of leaders and felt invisible? Here's the truth. It's not just you. Introverts make up over half of the US population, yet only 39% make it to senior leadership. Somewhere between showing up and moving up, we disappear. My name is Sunita. For years, I was one of the disappearing, shrinking myself to fit, trying to become someone I thought leaders were supposed to be. Until one night, standing alone in my kitchen, I asked a different question. What if I'm not the problem? What if the definition of leadership is broken? I grew up in India as that girl, the polite one, the soft-spoken one, the one that teachers would often point to and say, "Be like her, she's such a good girl." It sounded like praise, but it came with rules. Be bold, you were too much. Be quiet, invisible. Research from Hewlett-Packard shows that by age 6, girls are already less likely than boys to see themselves as really, really smart. 6 years old. Before she loses her first tooth, a little girl has learned to doubt herself. I was one of those girls. In high school, I was the only girl in my physics and mathematics class. That doubt, still there. I didn't speak much, but I immersed myself in every lesson, every equation, every problem, quietly proving that I belonged. But here's what I didn't realize yet. Proving yourself is not the same as believing in yourself. I carried that difference with me into my career. Less than a decade in, 2 young children at home, my manager called me in. "We're restructuring." My mind went straight to, I'm getting fired. But then he said something I didn't expect. "You're going to lead a team." Excitement, then almost instantly panic. I can't do this. I'm not ready. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. According to KPMG research, 75% of female executives experience imposter syndrome at some point in their career. I accepted the position, but I struggled, second-guessed everything. One day, my manager looked at me and said, "Elevate yourself in your head." I nodded politely, but inside, I was screaming, How? How do I do that? I looked around at the confident, outspoken leaders, mostly men, who seemed to know exactly what they were doing. They spoke first, they decided fast, they projected power, dominance, certainty. That's what I thought leadership was. Being the boldest, the fastest, the most decisive, most certain person in the room. I thought he means become like them. So I tried to fit the mold. I hid everything too soft. My empathy, my thoughtfulness, my instinct to listen. Because I believed they weren't leader-like, and so didn't count. I overworked, over-prepared, over-performed. But I was drowning quietly. McKinsey research shows 70% of women change who they are at work to seem more leader-like. So many of us are performing, trying to fit a mold that doesn't fit us. One night, late, kids in bed, house finally quiet. I stood alone in my kitchen. It was dark. I was too exhausted to even turn on the lights. Exhausted not just from work, but from pretending. And I thought, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Maybe I should quit before they find out and fire me. Have you ever felt like you were failing at everything? That's where I was. Then, like a whisper breaking through, those words came back. Elevate yourself in your head. Suddenly, I understood. It wasn't about elevating myself above anyone. It wasn't about meeting someone else's standard. It meant elevating the version of myself I'd been apologizing for my entire life. My quiet strength, my ability to really listen, my learning mindset, that willingness to say, I don't know yet, and then go find the answers. I wasn't failing because I wasn't good enough. I was failing because I was trying to be someone I was not. From that night, everything shifted. I stopped trying to be the loudest voice. I started leading the way that felt true to me. When I didn't know something, I said so. I don't know, but I'll figure it out. When someone needed support, I gave it. When decisions needed time, I took it. People started saying, you make everyone feel valued. You bring calm to chaos. Those so-called weaknesses, they were my superpowers. I didn't just survive, I thrived by finally becoming fully who I was. Today, I lead technology for a mission-driven organization. I mentor young women, women who remind me of my younger self, including my daughter who just stepped into her professional journey. I advise and invest in startups led by women. Because leadership doesn't stop with you. When one woman leads authentically, she changes what leadership looks like for the women watching her. She makes space for them to grow. One becomes two, two becomes four. Your success doesn't just stay with you, it multiplies. Do I still feel that old instinct to shrink? Of course, it still shows up from time to time. The difference now, it's not in charge anymore. I notice it. I step away when I need to recharge, and then I choose how I show up, powerfully, authentically. I no longer let my introversion hold me back. I let it fuel how I lead. Here's why this matters now. We're entering a world where AI can process information faster and at a greater scale than any human ever could. World Economic Forum projects that by 2030, 30% of current jobs could be automated. But here's the thing. Machines can't bring empathy, can't make people feel heard, can't ask the questions that make someone feel seen. The very qualities we've been hiding, they're becoming the most valuable skills of the future. This isn't the future despite quiet leaders. It's the future because of them. So, how do you start right now? Look at your hand. 3 fingers. 3 ways to lead authentically. First, name your real strengths. And remember, your curiosity, your ability to really listen deeply, these aren't nice to haves. They're leadership. Second, lead from where you are. Leadership isn't a title, it's raising your hand, doing one thing that scares you. The first time is hard, the second time, easier. Third, embrace the I don't know yet. You see, real confidence isn't knowing everything, it's being brave enough to admit what you don't know and having the willingness to learn. But here's the smallest shift, a 3-second pause. Before you react, before you doubt yourself, before you shrink, pause. Choose one strength. Lead from there. 3 seconds to shift from fear to power. Imagine a world where quiet voices matter as much as the loud ones, where leadership does not have a single mold, where young girls like my daughter grow up knowing they don't have to change who they are to be powerful. To every woman doubting herself, to every introvert questioning if they belong, to my daughter stepping into her own journey. You don't need to be louder. You don't need permission. The power is already yours. Use it. Thank you.